Good morning. Today you're going to be doing an e-learning hemoglobin in primates lab. So what we're going to do is we are going to take a look at DNA between different types of primates. So we're going to actually compare human DNA with chimpanzees as well as gorillas and look at the relationship between them. So you're going to use that BLAST program that you've done in the past. So what I have open is I have my lab. I also have a window open with the DNA sequencing, which is in Google Classroom. So you're supposed to start by heading to the National Center for Biotech. It's right in here. You've used these before. And then you are going to find BLAST under Popular Resources, which is on the right side of the page. And we're going to do a basic BLAST for nucleotides. So Popular Resources, here's the word BLAST. And again, we are going to be doing a nucleotide blast today. So we're going to click on that here. So if we go back over, it tells us to copy the modern human hemoglobin DNA. So I'm going to head over to my DNA, copy, and I'm going to paste it into the first section. Okay. So the DNA sequence, and paste the sequence into the empty box titled Enter here. And you can see that represented right in here. It says, then click the box associated with the phrase align two or more sequences. Because remember, we are comparing. So we're going to align a second sequence. We're going to compare the humans, in this case, to the gorillas. So I'm going to highlight the gorilla DNA sequence. And I'm going to paste it over into the second location. Okay, so we are right here. So I just copied and pasted that over. Under the program section, optimize for choose somewhat similar sequences. So right in here, optimize for somewhat similar sequences. Okay. Then it says click on the word BLAST. So while that's running, it says scroll down to obtain the and observe the alignment of the sequences between the modern human sequence and the other primate sequence. So we're going to head over. Okay, so if you take a look, we actually do see a description here. We do see value as well going through all this process. So when looking at this data, it is kind of difficult to look at it, particularly from this screen. But if you take a look, remember, we can switch it over to alignments, which is a lot easier. So the query, that was humans. Humans were the first item that we put in. So we're comparing the human's DNA to the subject, and our first subject was gorillas in this case. So if we take a look at that and we scroll down here, the human sequence is 991 base pairs long. The gorilla sequence is 974 base pairs long. So looking at that data, you know how many base pairs long the DNA sequence would be for each of those organisms. When comparing them together, if you look up here, it'll tell you the percentage of DNA that they have in common. So when comparing humans to gorillas, they are 98% DNA in common. So what you're going to do is you're going to head back over to your lab and you're going to start filling things out. So again, the number of bases for the human, we already know that the human sequence is query 1, and the human sequence has a length of 991 base pairs long, compared to the gorilla, which is 974. So right now, you're going to figure out how many number of base pairs each of these organisms has. And then you're going to write that percentage that I just showed you. That percentage again, once you click on the alignment, will show you right here. So 98% similar is what gorillas and humans actually are together. So you're going to run the sequence again. And once you've run the sequence again, you're going to run it with the chimpanzees. You're going to keep the human, we can go back here for edit search. You're going to keep the human DNA sequence up here. You're going to then run the chimpanzee sequence down here, and you're going to see the relationship between the two for that. Once you have that done, you don't need the DNA anymore. So I'm going to actually scroll back over here. And you're going to head down to milestone 2. So in milestone 2, you are going to make some decisions here. So based on the data that you've actually looked at for up here, is the gorilla gene or the chimpanzee gene more similar to humans? And how can you tell? So make sure that you're using data up here. What might this mean about how humans, gorillas, and chimpanzees are related? So are we most closely to one? Are we further to another? What does that tell us about evolution and all this fun stuff? Then we're going to take a look at common ancestry. So milestone 3, you are going to make a decision. Do you think this image or this image best represents the type of ancestry you saw depicted in the data up here? Okay. Now remember, when branches are closer together, it means that they are more closely related. So you're going to justify your answer for why you chose that particular, ancestral tree. In milestone 4, you are going to take a look again. You're going to compare hemoglobin DNA in primates in part 2. So copy your data from the table above, which is up here. You place it down here. And this time, you're going to do the blast sequence now with a common ancestor. So you are going to run a comparison between humans and the common ancestor's DNA. So again, you have that common ancestor's DNA located right here. So you're going to run a third blast and figure out where that common ancestor would belong. I know it says work with your team to answer the following questions. Obviously, you can always contact a friend in class, what have you, but you're going to answer the following questions that go through this and basically finish up the lab. If you do have questions, reach out to somebody in class. If you're still struggling, obviously leave a message in Google Classroom and I will be sure to address it because I'm sure you're not the only one. All right, thank you.